Coffee break.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee Break, episode number 2 of this season. We are going to get straight into it today. Frederik, we're here to talk about the Paragon series.
Exactly. Good morning, everyone, and welcome from Kerkrade, our European head office of Elation. Cheers to everyone. Let us know where you are right now, what you're drinking right now. We would like to interact more with you today. And yeah, like Alistair said, the Paragon series is on today. And well, there are a lot of moving heads in the market, and it's getting more and more. And which direction are we heading with the moving heads? And why did Elation develop the Paragon? And that's actually a really interesting question. But honestly, we just listened again to the market because for years, rental companies, production companies always had to make a choice. Is it high output or high CRI? And often two versions of the same fixture, the same moving head exist. So one is a spot, the other one is a wash, just with a different LED or optics. Basically, the real problem comes in the everyday use. The riders change or the lighting designer asks for a different look, and that means for production rental companies, all of a sudden, they have to load and transport and rig additional fixtures. So that is a real challenge these days. And Paragon series was developed exactly for that reason. One system instead of multiple fixtures, extreme output and high quality CRI, and everything from the LED itself. Spot and wash through interchangeable optics, and one fixture that adapts to the show and not the other way around. And that's what we're looking for these days. For rental companies, that means fewer variants and more flexibility. And of course, it means for you saving a lot of money by the end of the day. For production, also fewer compromises, and for lighting designer, maximum freedom because it's super easy to adapt to the situation they're in or to their needs and designs. Paragon is not just a moving head, it's our answer to real market or real world problems, and that's what the coffee break is about today.
So let's give you a little introduction to what you're actually seeing on screen. So closest to me, we have the Paragon LT. LT, of course, means long throw. So this is a 50,000 lumen luminaire. It's got a 1300 watt engine, and it's a little over 40 kilograms. Today, you can see the quad color, and we've also got a Fresnel lens installed in it as well. Then closest to Freddy, we have got the Paragon S. So that is just over 20 kg, over 20,000 lumens out the front from a 550 watt engine. And then in the middle, we have the Paragon M. So 37,000 lumens from a 900 watt engine, and it's a little over 30 kilograms.
So a very compact range of fixtures, and our focus here was to make it lightweight, but still water resistant or dust resistant, and it's IP54 housing, so that means temporary outdoor use. But yeah, we get a few more details for you about that later.
So instead of showing you every prism and gobo today, we're actually going to highlight some of the real innovations that the Paragon series is bringing you. So one of those to start off with is TruTone. So TruTone is the name given to our LED engine. So as Freddie hinted earlier, it's giving you a variable CRI, so you can fade that between 73 and 93. So no longer do you have the compromise of having an LED engine which is optimized for the highest output or one that is optimized for the highest color rendering or color fidelity. Now we've taken that compromise away with one engine.
And it's not a filter, because filter will always reduce your brightness, so there's really no compromise. The high CRI and the high output come from the LED itself, and that's pretty unique in our industry.
So there's two aspects really of the engine that we want to show you. So one is the quality of the white light, which is changed by CRI. So that could be really important for painting sets or scenery with a beautiful quality of light. It also gets really important when it gets to products as well. So this would be ideal for something like an auto show or a fashion show. And then of course it's important to light the people correctly to get the natural skin tones. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to show the other aspect of the engine, which would be for changing how your color mixing works. So I think we can probably shift to our other camera, and we can have a look at using the Paragon M. So this at the moment is a CRI of 80, so that means it is optimized for the highest output. And if we change that, so bump that down to 73, you're immediately seeing that the white has changed. Why would you want to go down to 73? Well, firstly, it allows you to have a CRI that's probably matching older units that you may have in your inventory. And also it allows you to really dial in very specific colors for maybe some old school rock and roll looks. They like to make very sort of specific colors. I often call them dirty colors, but that's just my opinion. So we can also fade up now or bump up to 93. So you can really see that changing. So at 93, of course, you're losing a bit of output, but this is the highest color fidelity possible.
And it all comes naturally from the LED, and you can do those changes immediately with your DMX console. So that's quite useful when you are on tour or in a job where you need to change and adjust colors and the CRI.
Exactly. So let's look at CTO. So again, this is CTO at 80, but I can bump that again down to 73. You can really see that changing right away. And then finally up to 93 again. So again, you're really seeing that warming up that CTO. We can move over to magenta. Again, we're looking at 80 at the moment and down to 73, and then finally bumping up to 93. And that's where you really see the magenta being warmed up with that premium color fidelity.
You might not see the real effect of that right now because you're sitting in front of your screen, of your TV, of your computer or your mobile, wherever you're watching it. And the settings of your screen depend a lot on how natural, how saturated the colors look like. And that is just another reason why you should give us a call or send us a message that you want to get your hands on that fixture and take a look with it or at it with your own eyes and not just through the camera. And yeah, because these settings always really need to be adjusted to match what we're seeing here right now. So just get in touch with us, and we're super happy to give you a demo with that fixture live, and so you can experience that with your own eyes.
So using the CRI engine to really change the color mixing really gets important when you consider, for example, a yellow. So this is a yellow at 80 CRI, but obviously a yellow in theater could be completely different to a yellow that they will want for rock and roll. So that's why these engines really matter. So now we're at 73, and then finally we can go up to 93 again. Again, you're really seeing that warmed up.
And you also get the advantage that if you have other fixtures in your rig which have a more greenish or not so beautifully saturated yellow, you can adjust to these other CMY mixing systems by just dialing in a lower CRI, and then of course the colors are not so powerful and intense, but we choose a very intense and very brilliant and saturated yellow here, as well as the other colors, and that is really something you should experience with your own eyes.
Exactly. And finally, let's just quickly look at cyan. So cyan at 80, bump it down, and then bump it right up to 93. So you can really see the shifting of the color and really how you can change that live.
Beautiful. And the LED will also help you avoid any kind of color shifts when you're using gobos. Nowadays, you may have experienced that high power LED moving heads when you dial in the gobo, they get a color shift, but that LED engine helps you to avoid this issue as well.
Moving on, let's talk about lenses. So all of the fixtures ship with a profile lens as standard, but we offer an optional Fresnel lens and a PC lens as well. So the fixtures were actually really designed from scratch with this in mind. It's not just a case of building a profile and then throwing on a Fresnel or a PC lens and hoping for the best. These were actually engineered from the ground upwards to really be optically perfect without compromise.
Yeah, and I would like to show you, this is the lens, the Fresnel lens. I'm coming straight forward to the camera again. This is the Fresnel lens, a real glass lens, and this is the PC lens, for those of you who really like the good PC, good old-fashioned PC look in a projection. Yeah, and it's a real glass lens. You can really feel it with your hands. They're quite, well, I wouldn't say heavy, but they really have a nice weight. And there's a little sensor on the backside of each lens. And that little sensor, when you change the lens, tells the fixture, the Paragon itself, which lens is actually installed. So you don't need to change any settings in your console, just change the lens and you can continue working, because the Paragon will automatically adapt to the lens installed and will change and optimize the internal settings thanks to the little sensor which is installed in each lens.
Exactly, and that also not only changes the algorithm for the zoom and focus, but it actually changes the pan and tilt motor torque as well, because as Freddie just hinted, the lenses are a different weight. A Fresnel is obviously quite light, whereas the PC or profile is quite a heavier lens. So we actually automatically change that in the fixture as well, so that the pan and tilt remains accurate, stable, and working well.
Talking about pan and tilt, real quick, you have two different settings. One is real fast and reacting super fast. And the other setting is super smooth, and that's part of the internal software we have on these fixtures. So when you really need a smooth movement, just dial in the smooth movement in your DMX values, and then you're set to go for an absolutely accurate and smooth movement. Of course, the fast movement is also accurate, but it will break in a different behavior.
So finishing up on lenses, we should have maybe said this at the beginning, but the LT has got a Fresnel lens today, whereas the M in the middle has a profile, and closest to Freddy, the S model has a PC lens. So we're actually wanting to show you the differences between those just as we go along. Moving on to the physicality of the fixture, there are lots of different things which impact each other. So it is an IP54 fixture. That means it is good for temporary outdoor events. Not going to IP65 means we can make the fixtures lighter because we don't need that IP65 armor for anymore. So it's really good for temporary outdoor events. There is also a very specific and highly engineered airflow going through the system as well. So if I turn the units to the side, basically the air, one pattern of the air enters at the side and it's channeled up and it goes through a HEPA filter.
Yeah, it's located on every side of the fixture. Super easy to open it. That's and here we go. That's the HEPA filter. Super small. You can clean it with water once it's dirty. You can replace them from time to time if necessary. We always have them available for you. And then once you're done, you put them back inside, and the fixture is good to go. So that makes your maintenance a lot faster, and for rental companies a big advantage when they want to get the units out of the door real quick.
Okay, and then turning back again. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, turning back here again. So basically it comes through the HEPA filter, and then here it is channeled, so it comes down the side of the optical path on both sides. So this is really taking away heat. It's radiating heat away from the important components. So that could be motors, could be the lenses, of course could be color flags as well. So it's really channeling that heat away from those components, and then it extracts it out of the back.
So that means the inside of the fixture stays completely clean. So also another aspect to consider when you talk about maintenance, because our main key feature here is maintenance, and that is something the Paragon was developed for. The maintenance is made very, very easy.
Okay, and then briefly talking about the other airflow pattern. So the other pattern is actually cooling the LED engine itself. So the back of the fixture is kept as big as possible because beneath here we have the heat sink. So we have a nice big heat sink to radiate that heat directly out of the back from both sides. And there's also an IP-rated fan array in there as well that kind of helps to protect everything. So, the final thing to talk about with the physicality for me is really the extra little things that are brought in. So, for example, on the LT, we have a little handle here to help you lift it up. We also have a really nice feature that I like inside with the modules and the lenses and the snoot. They come with captive screws. So if you're a technician or a service technician, all you need to do is loosen those screws. You can get things in or out or off and on really, really quickly. You're not fumbling around on a busy stage or a stressful stage looking for your screws. They're captive within these modules and lenses.
Exactly, and the most important thing here is as well, you only need one screwdriver to do almost everything on that fixture. You can use the same screwdriver to change your lenses, to get rid of the cover. It's just a few screws, you take them off, and then it's the same screwdriver, 3 millimeter, I don't know the exact name for it, but I'll figure that out. It's a 3 millimeter Tox, I guess, and that one you can easily use on all the components. The arm, the display, the base cover, and the modules inside. And these modules inside, you just loosen the screws, and there's one little connector which drives all the internal electronics, and it has a bus system. So before, the connectors were quite large and big, but this little bus system allows us to have only one connector for data and power. You take that off, take the module out. It's very easy to maintain, so you don't need to remove other parts to go to a certain components. So maintenance was the main focus here, and that is why the fixture is very popular these days with technicians, and they're quite happy about this easy to maintain features.
The next innovation we want to talk about is ultra dimming. So ultra dimming is a new concept. So it's basically using an onboard refresh rate of 25,000 kilohertz. That's already in every Elation fixture. And we're combining that with our dual CRI engine. So actually the electronics that are driving that works in conjunction with this refresh rate to get the smoothest, most precise dimming possible with no scrolling on cameras, no artifacts, no jumping around of the dimming. So what I can do is we can look at our other screen, and I'm going to dim this down to 20% over 7 seconds. So you can really see that smoothly, very even, no jumping.
Keeps the color temperature absolutely consistent. There's no changes in that.
Yep, exactly. And now we're down at 20%. So I'm going to fade down to 0 over 10 seconds. So this is really showing you that bottom end of the dimming.
Any questions in the meantime, please let us know. Hit the chat button, get in touch with us wherever you're looking at. And yeah, that is just beautiful. It fades out into the darkness.
Indeed. So let's just bring it back up to 20% as well over 10 seconds again. And then that is ultra dimming. So it's on board, it's ready to go, it's easy, it's a control channel that you can operate from the console as well.
And it's a quite unique thing to have this kind of dimming with 25 kilohertz. Allows you also to do high-speed recording without any compromises, no flickering. So on camera, that fixture looks just perfect because the projection is well saturated. It's absolutely even in projection, and it has a lot of punch to cut through even longer distances.
So the final thing I wanted to talk about today is another innovation called SpectraColour. Some of you will already know it. It was existing in our Artiste series, so the Mondrian, the Monet, and the Rembrandt. And now we've brought it back into the Paragon series for the LT model. So why is it not in the S&M? Well, of course, we wanted to keep those fixtures very compact. And by the very nature of it being a long throw model, it gives us extra space inside to be able to add extra things. So in the case of the LT, it has an extra gobo wheel, but it also has SpectraColour. So SpectraColour is giving us extra flags. So in addition to the cyan, the magenta, and the yellow, it's actually giving us 3 extra pairs of flags of pure primary colors. So you're getting a red, you're getting a green, and you're getting a blue as well. So these are now 7 sets of flags covering CMY, RGB, and CTO. One important aspect of that, of course, that means we can now have a pure blue like we do here instead of a mixed blue. And I just want to show you the differences. So this is pure, and now I'm going to bump to the mixed blue. So you can see you're actually losing quite a lot of output, as you would expect. It's also a little bit of a different blue. It's a bit more of a Congo blue. We can go to red. So this is a pure red, but I can now put in the mixed red. So you can see you're again losing a bit of output. And finally green, and this is where it's most noticeable. So this is a pure green, and if I now bump to the mixed one, you can see you're drastically losing a lot of output.
And that's the disadvantage of an actual CMY system. If you need primary colors, you always put 2 flags over each other, and you're reducing your brightness dramatically. And with this SpectraColour system, you're avoiding it by just simply dialing in from 0 to 100% a primary color like red, green, and blue. And please take a look at that when you ask for a demo, because that's a unique system in the market, and we're pretty happy to have that system for you in the Paragon LT. Just 2 more things, and we want to come to an end very close to keep that informative and short for you. We have the so-called theater mode built in. Theater mode means you just saw how fast the flags were acting, and that's really fast, these CMY colors and the RGB colors. But if you want everything to be a little bit more silent, because you are in a theater situation or in a noise-sensitive situation, dial in on your console with DMX your theater mode, and everything, all the motors will work a little bit slower to be even more silent. As well as, of course, you have the mute mode for the ventilation and so on, and different settings for ventilation. You can also ask the motors to be more silent and to move a little bit slower. Of course, we have NFC in here, and we talked about that already in our previous episode. NFC means you have an app on your phone, and you open the Elation app, and you can read out certain information by tapping your phone here to the NFC tag or on the bottom side of the fixture. And you can do that even when there's no battery installed. You can address the fixture. So once you're using the fixtures or not using them for a longer time and the batteries may be empty, you can still use the NFC tag. You can write an address to the fixture and read out information. And you can do that as well when they're sitting in your flight case without power. So that NFC tool in your app store search for Elation, and then you can experience the great advantages of our new technology.
So I think that just about wraps it up for today. I'm not seeing any questions coming in, but if we've missed anything or something comes in later, we will, of course, answer over the next few hours. So yeah, we will be back on the 26th of February, where we will cover the Rebel washes. So we will send out an announcement about that. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. Last words over to you, Freddie.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm holding here another accessory which I forgot. It's the snoot, which can sit on top when you're using a Fresnel lens, for example, that avoids any spread light. Yeah, so we're really thinking about the little details here, and we want you to experience those little details of the Paragon as well. So please let us know if you're interested in a demo. Paragon is available in all sizes on the market and ready for you at several rental companies. If you're looking for a rental partner and if you want to experience the Paragon yourself, let us know, send us a message, and we're happy to reach out to you. By the way, Paragon comes with a standard 3-year warranty for you and a 5-year warranty on the LED engine. So that's also another statement. Thanks for watching. It was a big pleasure, and see you soon for the next coffee break.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.